Your daily dose of positivity. Tune in to the Social Impact Show with Samm Marshall, where we spotlight changemakers and their inspiring journeys.
And on the show today, we are shining a light on an innovative youth-led initiative tackling one of South Africa's most pressing challenges, which is underage drinking. Now, the Eastern Cape has some of the country's highest levels of alcohol-related harm, from pens-down parties to road crashes and violence. In response, Aware.org, the alcohol industry's non-profit organization dedicated to harm reduction, has launched the hashtag No to 18 peer-to-peer program in Gqeberha with the Eastern Cape Liquor Board and partners. This program equips student leaders to run campaigns for their peers, showing that real change can come from youth themselves. Joining me now on the line is Lebogang Mashigo, who is the Senior Programs Manager at Aware.org. Lebogang, good morning and thanks for joining me.
Good morning, Sam. Good morning to your listeners. Thank you for inviting us to be part of your show.
Yeah, let's quickly, before we get into kind of the meat of stuff, talk to me a little bit about the work of Aware.org. We know it's an industry non-profit organization, but I have been personally, as a journalist working for social TV, I have been to some really interesting campaigns that you guys have developed, and I'll tell you one of them. A couple of years ago, you set up what looked like a roadside shebeen, and you had all the industry players there, and this was on Winnie Marikazela
Nicole?
Say again?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, and it was...
I'm saying William Nicole, yes.
Yeah, and it was such an amazing campaign and so out of the box. And I love the way the industry as a collective responded to kind of drinking and driving. And I love how Aware.org thinks about its intervention. It's very intentional, really strategic. And I don't know, if you don't follow Aware.org, I'm not sure how familiar our listeners are with the innovation that's happening at that organization.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity again. So at aware.org, you're absolutely correct. We are an NPO on behalf of the alcohol industry, and then our main focus is harm reduction. Our main objective is to educate South Africans about the dangers of alcohol misuse. When you are legally over the age of 18 allowed to drink alcohol. And one of the main reason why we exist is that the alcohol manufacturers in our country are worried about the high rate of alcohol misuse. And the campaign that you are mentioning, it falls under the pillar "Don't Drink and Drive." And our two additional pillars are No to Under 18, which actually is our biggest pillar, where we spend most of our resources in, because we believe that if you catch them while at a young age, we will unlikely have problems around drinking and driving. And then also our third pillar, which talks to sober pregnancies, which is about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, drinking alcohol while one is pregnant. So those are our three main pillars. And what we've realized about South Africans, they don't want to be talked at. They don't want to be told what to do, right? That is why we come up with all these creative ideas to ensure, that the consumers or the South African public are engaged and follow our campaigns. So our main strategy is to be innovative each and every time across our three pillars, while we are educating the consumers, but also giving them information. And it works very well across our three pillars.
So with that in mind, that South Africans don't like to be talked at, they don't like to be preached at, how do you approach young people in the Eastern Cape? Because that, as a collective, along with the Eastern Cape Liquor Board and partners, you went into the Eastern Cape. How do you have that conversation to no to under 18 peer-to-peer drinking? How do you engage with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the Eastern Cape, we recently in partnership with the Eastern Cape Liquor Board and an implementing partner called United Through Sport, we launched an initiative that empowers young people to take the lead in changing behaviors and addressing the risks of underage drinking. So how this program works is basically we train student leaders to run peer-driven campaigns that encourage healthier choices. And alongside the workshops on the effects of alcohol on health, emotions, and long-term goals, our activities focus on resilience, leadership, and building safer communities. So we believe that when young people talk to other young people about topics like this, they are more likely to listen to them than having an older person stand in front of them to lecture them, to say, oh no, don't do this, if you do this, X will happen to you. But with our focus in the Eastern Cape through United Through Sport, we also include activities, recreational activities, like sports, rugby, soccer. Actually, through UTS, United Through Sport, we've got a partnership. We've been working with the Kodisi Foundation, to address all the challenges that are faced by young people when it comes to underage drinking. So it's all about bringing in, fun sports, gardening activities, but at the same time, integrate the content that was developed by aware.org with regards to the dangers of drinking alcohol while under the age of 18.
Lebogang, is it as simple as young people are bored, there's lack of opportunities, they don't have or they don't see a future, it's joblessness? What is it? Why is the Eastern Cape, why does it have some of the highest levels of underage drinking?
Yeah, I mean, we did research actually 2 years, 3 years ago. And then we've seen that one of the main drivers of underage drinking in our country is, peer pressure, which is a big one. And secondly, lack of recreational activities in different schools. So for an example, young people will go to school and they have nothing to do after school. So that is why we partner with organizations like UTS, whereby we use interactive sessions to demonstrate the impact of underage drinking on their brain development, emotions, and future aspirations. So it's not about, adults, as I said, lecturing young people. It's about equipping them to speak to one another in their own voices about these problems. So, and the most important thing is that we believe that when the community itself, also take the lead, behavior really begins to shift. We work with alongside the government, civil society, and youth leaders in the Eastern Cape to build a safer future. It's about giving them hope, equipping them with resources to say, don't give up. There are so many opportunities out there. There are so many things that, you can do as young people. Substance abuse, alcohol drinking, it's not one of them. You have to wait until you're under the age of 18, and also when you are over the age of 18, when you decide to drink, you have to do so responsibly. So yeah, it's about giving young people hope, equipping them with information that will make them leaders, better leaders for the future.
But we still have a fundamental problem. And I take my hat off to aware.org and partners because I firsthand see the work that you do. But I also spent a year very recently traveling with a client of mine. And I literally went into every province. And I was fortunate enough to see what township life is like during the week and what it's like over the weekends. And sometimes at 8 o'clock in the morning when we were setting up outreach programs, you would see young men walking around with beers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether the combination of trying to instill hope with lack of resources, if that's not a definitely a failed approach, because you can't give somebody hope and then there's no resources for them to go to. The other problem is that you obviously have these unscrupulous owners that are selling this alcohol to minors, and so we then have this conversation of trying to inspire a generation, where in some instances there are lack of resources, and then you have this very pervasive culture of just selling alcohol to underage children with impunity, and there doesn't seem to be that backup. Whether it is because I'm unfortunate to say this, in some of these communities, the examples is my uncle, my father, my friends who are drinking, and there's nobody's holding each other accountable. So how do we solve this problem? I mean, it's great to bring in hope. It's great to kind of youth lead. It's great to have this whole of society approach where the responsible elements of government, the responsible elements of community, and youth themselves all agree. But we still have these challenges. How are we going to fix the challenges?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I agree with you. I also see, the problem in our townships with young people, walking around with beers on their hands early in the morning. And I must say, there's quite a lot of work that we're doing in that area. I mean, we've got quite a number of implementing partners, as I said, that we are working with. And then they offer, the young ones resources and information about what else you can do, when you come from school. Why don't you volunteer on some community programs?
Yeah. Why
Why don't you go and learn about, how you can use a computer, how you put together your CV, how do you empower yourself and other young people around you? So through our various implementing partners that we work with across the country, and the great thing about them is that they're doing this work already on the ground, and they understand the challenges that are faced by communities. That is why we have decided to partner with various implementing partners from the local townships or from the local areas. So there is quite a lot that can be done, through our implementing partners. And we encourage people to visit our social media platforms, to visit our website, to learn more about the work that we do and then what they can do to support us in making changes in different communities.
Yeah, no, Lebogang, thank you very much. I know you are running off to a meeting. You've only been able to give us 15 minutes. There's so much more we can talk about, but really appreciate you, really appreciate the work that you do. I would encourage our listeners to go to aware.org, see all the players that have come together and how they are using their expertise and their skills to deal with this massive scourge, and how they are innovatively thinking about dealing with young people who, for whatever reason, are going through some of these challenges. So my hat off to you guys at aware.org, and thanks for making the time to talk to us.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for the platform. We also rely on the media to get our message across out there, to your audience, to your listeners. As you had said, we believe in a whole of society approach, and we believe in collaboration. So without the media, without, the liquor traders in different townships, our message, will get lost. But we believe that with you on our side, with other government agencies, NGOs, we will definitely make a difference, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Lebogang. That's Lebogang Mashigo, who's the Senior Programs Manager at aware.org. They very recently, they were in the Eastern Cape along with their partners, including the Eastern Cape Liquor Board. And they launched a program, the hashtag No to Under 18 Peer-to-Peer program. And that was in Lebogang specifically, but they work across the country. And a fantastic organization. If you want to find out more how you can go and support them, just go to their website, literally aware.org, and you can look at all the programs. And as he mentioned, there's fundamentally three national pillars that they engage on. One is hashtag no to under 18, don't drink and drive, and then sober pregnancies. So just an amazing organization. Other thing that I forgot to mention to you as well is that today we're starting our champions conversation, and every day we're going to speak to whether it is a champion of the arts, champion of sport, champion of local government, champion of business, across the various sectors, and we're going to ask them what brings a champion mentality. How do we develop it? How do we foster it? And today we're going to have a chat too. We were so fortunate to have her. She resides in Dubai at the moment, but she was recently in the country. And we had Banali Taron, who is the world's strongest woman. I think that's officially her title in a particular weight category. But she is been crowned the world's strongest woman. And we had a great conversation with her. It's a pre-recorded conversation. It happened just after 10. And every day we'll keep on having these conversations, and hopefully it inspires you with inspirational South Africans that are doing amazing things. And on the list, I can tell you, we've got some serious captains of industry. We've got some serious personalities, artists, really extraordinary artists that will be joining the conversation. We've got the SA rowing team, amongst others. We've got the SA maths champions. And so there's going to be a host of people over the next month talking to us about a champion mentality and what does it take to become a champion. And hopefully it inspire you. Generally, it will happen at about 10 past 10 every day, Mondays to Thursdays. Exception is a Friday. It'll be 10:35 on a Friday. But hopefully you can join us for that conversation on Gauteng's official Feel Good radio station. We'll also do it is Wednesday today, so we'll focus on the European Union, and we'll tell you all the positive stories coming from that part of the world.